Morgan Shepherd also has an in-car camera in his Citgo Ford, and the leading rookie contender, although he is not the fastest rookie in this race, is Jeff Gordon, and we will have a in-car camera in his car also. Well, it appears as if they're going to go one more time. Everybody has risen as if to watch the start of this race, but instead they will go around one more time before we get the green flag.
We all jumped up to watch the green flag, and guess what? They tricked us. There we see Jeff Bodine in second gear. These cars will start in second. He'll shift to third, back to fourth, and that's where he'll keep the car. Oh, we got a piece of debris on the racetrack already.
That's the reason why we didn't go green. There was a piece of debris on the racetrack, so that has been retrieved by one of the NASCAR officials. And now the lights atop the pace car are no longer flashing. Dick Trickle, by the way, is standing by for relief for Kenny Wallace, who broke his shoulder blade in a crash at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway during their test a few days ago. And so Dick Trickle will be relieving Kenny as soon as possible.
And of course they would hope to do that during a caution flag, and you know how cautions are here at Bristol. We see a lot of them. That could come early.
It'll probably come early. The crowd is on its feet, 72,000 strong. We're glad you could be with us. The Bud 500 is on.
What a magnificent start.
How the cars at this point are strung out, and indeed, as we said earlier in the show, they are already separated by a half a lap, and we are just 4 laps into this race.
Everyone pretty well in single file. This is basically a one-groove racetrack, and that one groove is on the low side of the racetrack.
We can see where Eddie's talking about, right on the next to the black asphalt. Here's Mark Martin, the leader, and Rusty Wallace had fallen back to third. He takes over from Ricky Rudd.
Bobby Labonte is running in fourth, and Hut Strickland, Derek Cope, and Rick Wilson follow them. But now the best battle is for second position. Back now to fourth spot. There's Labonte and Strickland. And Cope sneaking up there to make it a 3-car race.
And Rick Wilson, a lot of these cars, the best run they've had this year. And oh, look out, oh man, that was close.
Well, that's what all it takes is one little tap going into the turn, and you can be spun around. But Bobby Labonte drove high there, but he's losing lots of positions.
He did not spin, but he's losing lots of positions here as Jeff Bodine goes to the inside. Here comes Brett Bodine. Jimmy Hensley will be next to attempt to pass Bobby Labonte.
Man, Ernie Irvan is gone down the back straightaway. He hits the wall just a little bit. I don't think there's a lot of damage, and so far, NASCAR has not thrown the caution flag.
It's well off the racetrack. It's on the apron.
Now he throws it.
Now it's out, yeah. So we have our first caution on the 10th lap. Here they come down to take the caution. Dale Earnhardt started 19th. And I believe he's moved up a couple of positions, maybe 17th at the moment. But our caution is because of Ernie Irvan's spin on the backstretch.
Well, Irvan's on the inside of Jimmy Spencer. Moved on the inside of him there, and there's Phil Parsons in the car 41, and Irvan just out there by himself. The back end brakes look similar to the way when he qualified this afternoon. That put him back there, had to take a provisional spot to get in the field. The car just broke loose right in that same spot, almost that same spot.
And this is a backup car. Ned said he didn't make the field with his qualifying. His first lap wasn't fast enough to make the field. on his second qualifying lap. He spun, crashed the car, and had to go to this car at backup.
And here's Jerry Punch with a report.
And just to add to what Benny Parsons was saying, this is a backup car. This is not a short track race car. Actually, this is the car that Ernie Irvan used to finish second in Atlanta back in early March this year. It's an actual intermediate car. They worked for the past hour and a half here in this heat at Bristol, Tennessee, trying to get the car dialed in. They couldn't quite get a handle on the car, and Ernie's sort of struggling here early on. Let's check into the back pits now with John Kernan.
Jerry, what a break for the Dirt Devil Pontiac team as Kenny Wallace broke in the tip of his right shoulder blade in an accident at Indianapolis testing. He was going to run until the first caution. They had hoped that it would come early. It has. Dick Trickle standing by to get into the car. In fact, Kenny ran 6 laps today as he gets out with no problem. Dick Trickle sliding in. It will need to be a very quick change. He ran 6 laps today and told me that it did not hurt, that he thought he could probably go longer, but he wanted to be in just so he would not injure it further. Now let's go to Dr. Jerry Punch.
I spoke with Kenny Wallace. You know, what he broke was the very bottom part of the scapula. He said the shoulder blade on the right side up in Indianapolis. It isn't a serious injury, but it can be very painful. And with the vibration and the G-force here at Bristol, Tennessee, his car owner, Felix Sabatos, didn't want to take a chance on having him injured. He felt that possibly if he would sit out here tonight, he'd be able to go full bore next week at Darlington in the Southern 500s. He's going to get out here early and put the veteran Dick Trickle in the car.
Meanwhile, the green flag is coming out, and Trickle did not lose a lap. He and the others managed to stay on the lead lap, and there were a couple of other cars that pitted, including Wally Dallenbach Jr. and Bobby Hillin. Green out once again. Mark Martin leads Rusty Wallace, Ricky Rudd, and Hut Strickland. John Kernan is with Kenny Wallace.
Well, Kenny, you guys wanted an early caution. You got it. A very quick driver's change without losing a lap. Didn't look like you were hurting too bad when you climbed out.
No, the Dirt Devil car's running really good. You know, I hated to see Ernie spin in front of me. I had to barely miss that, but Dick Trickle's done a good job all week long for us, and I think he'll do good today.
Dick Trickle is in the car. Of course, Dick Trickle is short track specialist, has run well in the past here at Bristol. They're hoping for him to do a really good job tonight.
Trickle trying to move up through the traffic.
And Rick Wilson spun over in turn 2. The STP Pontiac looks like so. Oh, and Lake Speed spins around. I think Lake got bumped from behind. I don't think there's a lot of damage to Lake's car, but he needs to get it going the other direction or he's going to get lapped. Go down pit road now, Lake.
I don't think he's... yeah, he is, because Mark has slowed the field down so that Lake is going to stay on the lead lap. But Rick Wilson's car is disabled on the apron off of corner number 2. And here's another look at it.
This is Jeff Gordon, the 24 car. The DuPont Automotive finished his car right behind Rick Wilson. And looks like a little bit of bump from Gordon. And you see Gordon got...
Yeah, he got bumped by Jeff Bodine.
Bumped the back of him.
Typical Bristol racing. And watch how Lake Speed became involved.
He dives down on the inside a little bit too hard there. And really, his left wheels look like we're down on the flat part of the pavement.
Yeah.
And just spun him around.
Looks like Lake and his spotter haven't worked that much together, and the other cars were slowing down. Lake's car was not slowing down.
Already 2 cautions in the first 18 laps of this race. Couple of spins already by Ernie Irvan and Rick Wilson. We'll be back with more live coverage in a moment. Back at Bristol International Raceway, the shot is from the Blockbuster video blimp hovering high above this half-mile racetrack. Here's Jerry Punch with an update on Rick Wilson.
The first victim of the Bristol High Banks tonight, the STP Pontiac, has been on pit road just a minute ago and is now back in. The obvious cosmetic sheet metal damage. One concern, but the biggest concern, something you can't see very easily at home. That is a toe-out situation. The front tire's actually pointing in the opposite direction. He got tagged from behind. The right front tire pointing to the right side, the left front pointing to the left side. And Robbie Lubis, now the crew chief, under the car, trying to get that adjustment made. As the cars come by, he loses another lap here in the pits. Once again, a replay. Here's what happened to the Bartow, Florida driver, Rick Wilson. In turn 2, the car loops around, spins. He gets contact. There's some sheet metal damage. A tough break after a great qualifying effort. Also, the car number 28 spinning to avoid the car number 44. Let's check in on his progress with John Kernan.
Jerry, Lake Speed has been in twice to the pits. All they've had to do is pull away some sheet metal and also change all 4 tires. Larry McReynolds and the crew say there is nothing wrong with the car except sheet metal damage.